Hi there and welcome to my channel. This is Kate from the Journal Nest, usually in Australia but still on her trip in the US. Welcome, thank you for joining me, and I hope you are feeling okay. How are you? I have to say that I have just been loving my stitching while I'm here. There's a gentle rain pouring outside my window, so it just feels just so blessed to be able to sew. So I am continuing with the idea to finish this last covered box that I'm doing in Roxy Creations Journal of Stitchery. I always find that hard to get out, but you know what I'm talking about. Rachel and Sarah, thank you for your inspiration. So this is the top of my covered box. I've shared that I got it as a bargain in the sewing basket sale. On top here, I confess that while I did bring my travel horsewhip with me on the plane, I was missing an opportunity to have a separate pincushion. So I just whipped up this out of two little tiny bits I bought with me, and that's proving useful already. So this is the top. I'm going to stitch some of this. I'll show you some of the detail, and this is I don't know what you call that, but it's going to go around the sides. It's gradually, the garden is growing. It runs out of sort of interest at this end, but I'd like to add some lace and things to that today. So this one, even on my little covered box, it was the ends that were plain and they had to be added to. So I hope you've got a cup of coffee. I think it's the weekend wherever we are at the moment, so have your cup of coffee, your tea, and let's get making together. I'll start with just doing some of my relaxing running stitch. I've got a few little pieces put on here, then I'll get your thoughts on where do we want to fill in a little bit with stitching. Those of you doing the prompt, I wonder whether you're all finished, because I think, oh, I should say welcome to June as well. I think it means that we are up for the next prompt. And I'm excited to hear about that, because since I've started, now I'm not sure whether, because I'm in a hotel room, it's not perfect lighting, but hopefully you can see my stitching. So this is how Kate just gets her mind into her creative space. Jet lag's getting better, so the stitches are a little bit more controlled than they were the other day when I filmed. And I do want to say thank you again. I say it every video, but I'm going to continue this practice. Thank you for your care, for your comments, for being here with me. I don't feel by myself on this journey because of you all out there, and the fact that I can just turn my phone on and talk to myself, but knowing I'm talking with all my friends is actually so comforting. I do, however, have to share a concern. Just before I filmed, I went looking for my needles, and I think I started with 3. This may be the only one that I could get my hands on today, so you will have to bear with me threading. I'm sure they're here somewhere, but it's funny how jet lag makes you just go foggy. It's like the details. So I'm just going over this little doily here and just filling in this little space with some stitches. And we'll just just do a few more in here. So part of my approach is that it's layer upon layer, and as I build the garden, it's just feeling so nice under my fingers. So while we're here, why don't we go down and across, and we'll start a few little embroidery flowers. This beautiful fine, doily that I've used in my huswif, and on here it's just so, must have been so loved and washed. So it's giving me joy to see it and feel it under my hands. I have had the chance to catch up on some YouTube videos while I've been here and sewing away, and I have noticed that many of us have done 2 of each one of the girls' challenges, like 2 huswifs or 2 boxes. So I'm hoping we've got a chance to do 2 of the whatever the next one is. Of course, I maybe should have done mine in the opposite direction, like do the big one first and the small one, but I love that process and learned so much actually from doing this small box. That's what's inspired this. So when I get home, I should really only have to glue this on. There were questions about what I did. I just used fabric glue to stick it on. This is a wonky daisy. It's all right. We'll put a little center in it, and we'll keep going. Yeah, so I thought that was the best way of doing it. Just bring the tops and the sides with me, and oh my goodness. Okay, what have you done? I put my finger over that one because it's a bit even far out of the wonky stage. It's so soothing. Oh, see, I'm just in such such a relaxed place. Just went very quiet for a while, which is probably better. I know many turn the sound off anyway, so those of you listening. So let's do one more little daisy to join the story up to this flower. So there are quite a few layers that I'm going through. Running out of cotton or wool. This is the 4-ply variegated that I rave on about. And I would say it has to be in my essentials kit. If I could only, someone was saying that if you could only choose, 3 wools or something the other day, I don't know where I saw that, this one would have to be in my kit. There we are. That's only a 4 petaled daisy, but that's okay. I wanted to show you, and we might do a little bit more of this now, is that I've been taking these big flowers and I've started to work them in satin stitch. And true to my challenge to myself to practice my stitches, I have been doing some colonial knots in the centers. Now that's not original, I know, but I really liked that impact of those pink. They're quite tall and fuzzy, and then they're stitching over here to take away the bright pinkness of that. I'm going to do the same on here. I've added these little twirly flowers. So while we're on this piece, why don't I add some variety for you, and let's see what happens if we put some of this variegated wool and then we'll do some work on the side. Just threading my needle. So funny how gentle rain is soothing. It's just, I suppose it's not funny, but I do like that combination of rain and stitching. Okay, so you haven't seen me do much of this before, and I am still just working out. I've watched Rachel do this, and I see it in Fleur's work all the time. I'm going to one of her courses that I can't wait to do. But in the meantime, oh, yes, I was wondering where the end was, and it was already through. So I suppose I just look and absorb, and that's why I'm sort of messy and in no way perfect at all. But I am loving the process of stitching, of finding this community first of all, because I hadn't even watched YouTubes about stitches until March, I think. And now we're in June. So happy summer to the northern hemisphere, and here we go, southern hemisphere, into the winter. So because it's going through quite a few layers, it's a bit tough, and it does get a bit tough on the wool, but a little bit of fuzz is not going to worry me. So I'm just stitching within the satin stitch, and this actually is not cotton or not linen, but the beautiful brightness of the flowers spoke to me, so that's why they're on here. So this is almost like a little grey part of the wool, or mauve. Takes me a lot longer to do this, so it's truly slowing me down. hope I'm not putting you to sleep. My hope is that you're just really also, if you're crafting along with me, stitching or painting. I had a lovely comment from an artist the other day who said she just puts me on in the background as she paints, and I thought, oh, that's a beautiful image. So I do love hearing what you're doing. So the funny thing about this is that you can set out to do it straight, and that doesn't happen. So I've got all sorts of stitches in different directions now, but I actually think that'll be fine, because again, like a flower, it's going to add depth. And actually we might do, is it called a split satin? I don't know, just to make this even up a bit. To get around the corner, I'll do half a long stitch, and then where am I? Come up again and go down there like that. I should have thought about that earlier for those really long stitches. Not to worry. So yeah, these are tiny little ones. And it's tough to, oh, there's so many little layers under here. I've just recently heard people call this thread painting. And I thought, oh, that's, oh gosh, just pricked myself. At the same time as saying how lovely. It is a lovely way to think of what we're doing if we're free to paint. So look at this, I'm going to have a wild contrast. I've got really long stitches over there and really tiny ones here. It's all about the texture and the colour, and for me the garden. A bit like pin the tail on the donkey when I can't really see where I'm going. But the sound of that thread going through the material is just glorious to me. That's when I feel like a real stitcher, when I can hear that. Okay. So nothing perfect about that at all, but it's just going to gradually build up and add to the garden. Now I've got, no, it's not enough to do anything. I do have a Suffolk puff that I'd like to go into the garden somewhere. Don't know yet. Maybe there. So we sort of have 1, 2, 3 flowers together. Let's just leave that for me to think about for a minute. I'm going to thread my needle. It's funny, I just stood up and got a little bit dizzy, and then I reminded myself if that's what jet lag does. So It's a good excuse not to do too much. Okay, so let's just, oh gosh, what's happening here? Now, let's have a look. I'm thinking, I suppose I do need to start thinking about this. I'm thinking that that's the way the box runs, so that's the top, and then joining up with it like this will be that bottom. So I've got the continuity, yes, that's, in fact I might, no, I just have to remember that that's the side of that box and this is the side of this one, and that little white daisy is going to be my center. So let's have a look at this side because it's looking a bit sad. Well, not sad, but not dressed yet. And I was thinking that we might look at adding a bit more lace around here. And we need some colour. Many of you have laughed at me when I've talked about the poor back of the box, but that is important, isn't it? It can't feel like it's not cared for. It's too big a piece. I have used that up there. I'm doing some circular stitches, so I wouldn't mind. And what have I got on the other end of the box? I've got blue and that bright orange, which is, I'll rework over there. So maybe it is time for some blue. Maybe yellow and blue or something. Okay, let's just get started and see where we go. Let's start with this. I'm just thinking which way would we like the curly, because we're going to be nearly on the back now. Let's do that. How am I? I'm just, as usual, going to take advantage of these holes in the lace. Oh, of course, she started with something. There we go. Just do an extra stitch to bolt that down. So it's just some little, well, so this is one of the challenges that we have to face when we, or maybe it's just me, with the wool, because that's 3 layers coming in, and I think the end of, yeah, sorry, that was just pure strength then. I've made a knot, no I haven't, now it's right. So I'm forcing it through some little tiny holes, so it might go a bit bigger. Here we are. I'm just looking at that little patch of stitching that was done with embroidery thread, and again in the variegated. That's, looking at those stitches were quite neat for once. Sorry, I've zoomed off again in my head because I was just thinking actually that this is what's really pleasurable, is that usually I do my stitching mostly at night, and I've been able to do some in the days because I haven't bought all my journals, and I do some prep for work, and then I just say, well, what else could you do but do some stitching? It has been funny to have some comments and talk with some of you about, you know, the horsewhip coming travelling with me. And it's so funny, when I made my first one, I was never thinking of it as a travel companion because I just wanted it at home. But, you know, truly going back to its original purpose. So again, to Rachel and Sarah, I'd never heard of a horsewhip before your challenge. And now I think that I might make one for each trip. And that would be a lovely way to keep the memory and to keep evolving. So I already have learnt, you know, some things that I would do differently. I'm actually going to go back in here because I want to keep that bit of the lace visible and able to be touched. Oh, now the sun's come out. More light, I hope, for you. Now we're on a bit of a roll. Maybe I could have done this in just a cotton thread. I probably don't need the wool as much, but I do love the variety of stitching down bits with different textures. This is finding it rough going poor thread. Nearly there. So see what I mean? I just like that little frill. I better check that I can not too far up on you. Oh, well, you know what I'm doing. I think it's this slippery desk that everything moves. Unlike my nested home where am I? I better just come back over here. Where I haven't got room to stretch out. Okay, we'll just go to the edge here. Put her under. Okay, so I've still got a little bit of thread on my needle, and this is what I tend to do. I think, well, I'm in this area here. Let's see if we can do one of these little rosy things. To join that blue flower to this pink section. So I'm deliberately going across a whole lot of different materials. There, and go down here and up here. And in there. So 5 spokes. It's not going to be the most fluffy, but it's still a lovely way of ending off, like not wasting your thread. So Kate's favourite. Let's go under and over. Over and under. Sorry, my hand will be in the way. Over, under, sometimes these little spokes get hidden to me, but they're still there. Over, under, one more over, and then under there. And we can go down. Okay, a tiny little one, pulled it a bit tight at the end, but that doesn't matter. Okay, look at that, it's wild. How are we going time-wise? We're okay. I truly just love that time slows down. And okay, so I'm feeling there's blue there. I like my diagonals, and this is blank. Let's see. No, I'll go gently. I'll cut this. I mean, the person who did this, so neat. Oh my goodness, those little satin stitches are the way they're meant to be. Even the back is perfect. Maybe still trim it down a bit. We're going to change our mind and sort of make it a circle. Which side will we do? It's got a few more ends. Let's go. Let's tuck this little beautiful piece in there. And we'll do a bit of blue. I do think I'm going to run out of some of my threads by the time, well, in not too many days' time. So that'll cause a different influence on my sewing, won't it? Because this particular blue, I don't think I bought very much of. Just looking at my imperfect blanket over there, but I don't really want to cover them all up. And then I've got the lace on top of that, a little bit of cross stitch, a little bit of blanket. Okay, here we go. I think I'm just going to go around in a circle with my running. I mean, it's so simple, but I love the impact of just those blue stitches around. And for some reason, it's not as big a fight. So because I've got two open linen threads, I think, linen fabrics, that's when you start to really notice the ease of getting the needle through, which I'm learning by experience. Now, what are we going to do after this? I think we go around one more time. We'll do it out here. Little delicate side of the hanky there, or runner, whatever it was. Finish up the 2 rows. Go. Chop that off, and I was just thinking, I've got that blue left over, and can we do something up here? Blue, blue, blue. Oh, let's add. So what I better just check. What I'm trying to do here is add some of my own flowers to add onto these green stems here. So this originally only had that, and that, and that. So I've added some of these. And let's do, got some, Let's do, oh, I don't know. But let's try. How many layers have we got? So I suppose I'll keep in my mind that one flower leads to another flower. That's what's my theme in this garden, or in most of my gardens really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and deliberately not symmetrical. Come out in the center. Well, I say that because if I told you they have to be perfect, I could not do them. So I salute and commend every one of you that can do these easily. I'm in awe. But I do understand why. They're just so much fun to make. So over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay, so that's enough for that one. I'm getting this grey colour coming out. 1, 2, where do we want to come up now? I know what I might do. I'm going to find my thread and the needle without knotting it. I'm going to come up way over here on this pretty little yellow flower, and we've got enough thread for a few little knots. Okay, revision time for Kate. So here's the needle, we want it to go over, and then over, and then through. Yep. Let's do another one. Yeah. So over, and through. Yep. Oh, I like how that's joining, and we need one more. Things in threes. I'm getting a little bit caught up under there. But we're right. Okay. Needle. This is always the tricky part. See, I've just forgotten because it's too short. So, over, and over, and through. Now we've got the sirens. There we are. That one's a bit close, but it doesn't matter. Let's pull that off there. Okay, so how about that? I think we can say we've got somewhere. So just a quick recap. This is, can't remember. Oh, I think it is meant to go this way. I was just looking at that Suffolk path. This is the top of my bag, and we've added some detail to that today. I've been starting to colour in with satin stitch, and on here we've added some lace, this little piece here, and the blue is connecting to the front of the garden. Still quite a few feet to go, but having lots of fun doing that. So thank you so much. Thank you as always to Rachel and to Sarah and to the rest of you involved in the challenge for the journalistic tree. This is Kate saying bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next time.